Hello. Hey, everyone. Welcome to yet another session of our Kubernetes Kubestronaut check-in. My name is Mamshad, and I'll be your host for today. So it's June, and it's almost 6 months into starting this huge, massive cohort of education, of learning, of certifications, of hands-on experience, and just super thrilled that we've come this far. And I do have some very interesting insights to share with you about the journey so far and the accomplishments so far. So uh, very thrilled to continue to do this. So if you're here, do send a message in the chat. Just let us know where you're from and what you do, and we'll kick this off. So I do have a few from different parts of the world. So we have Abdurrahman from Egypt. We have Tamesh Chakraborty from India. We have Xiaomin Guo from, did not say where from. We have someone from France. We have Remil. We have Ashwet. So welcome to this session. And let me quickly share my screen, and we'll get started. All right. So it's June 19th, and we have we started this cohort the beginning of January, and we have started another cohort at the beginning of April, and since then we've got a lot of people certified, a lot of Kubestronauts out. Today, I just want to congratulate those who have recently completed the certification. This is just the past 2 weeks. I think we missed the last check-in session because I was away and was not able to make it. But so we'll try and get as many people as in and congratulate as many people as we can. So we have Mohamed, who is a DevOps and cloud engineer, who has completed his CKA. So congratulations, Mohammed. We have Rishabh Saxena, who is a DevSecOps engineer at Aqua. Huge congrats to Rishabh for completing his CKA. We have Samir, who has completed the CKA as well. We have Taruka Manna Peruma, who is a senior DevOps engineer who's completed the CKS. So congratulations to Taruka. We have Narcis, who's completed the CKAD. So congratulations there. We have Oladele, who's also completed the CKS. So congratulations to Oladele. We have Marco Filipovic, who's completed 3 of the exams in the Kubestronaut series. So congratulations to Marco. We have Hasib Mahdi, who is a Red Hat certified Red Hat architect, who has completed his Kubestronaut. Awesome stuff. So congratulations, Hasib, on becoming a Kubestronaut. And we have, let me try and read this. Doyun Kwon, is that how it's pronounced? Congratulations on becoming a Kubestronaut. So yeah, I don't, is that Chinese or Japanese? Not sure. Chinese. I don't read it, but I just read it from here at the bottom. All right. We have some of the others who have completed their certification, some of the other exams. So Samuel Fandia, who's completed the certified Azure Fundamentals AZ900. So congratulations to Samuel. Omar Ben Taib, who's completed the AWS Certified Developer Associate exam. Congratulations to Omar. We have Stefan Mankam, who's completed the Terraform Associate certification. We have Arunodoy Das Gupta, who's completed the Terraform Associate as well. We have Kyle Haight, who's completed the Terraform Associate certification. Wahid Raj, who's done, again, the Terraform certification. We have Gururaj Rathod, who's completed the Prometheus Certified Associate exam. So congratulations to Gururaj. We have Gitz Middlecamp, who's completed a lot of certifications needed for the Golden Kubestronaut. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that all of it? This was the last of all the current 14 Linux Foundation certifications. Wow. Okay, so a journey started last year to obtain Kubestronaut title that continued this year. So yeah, congratulations on becoming a Golden Kubestronaut. That is huge. So by recently completing the Open Telemetry Certified Associate, the OTCA, has become the Golden Kubestronaut. Congratulations. We have Mohamed Saberi, who's completed the Argo certifications. So congratulations to Mohamed. Sundar Dev, who's done the AWS Cloud Practitioner. Jose, who's completed the AWS Certified AI Practitioner. And Anand, who's completed the AI Microsoft Azure AI Fundamentals certification. So congratulations to all of you. And I have a special guest here, about who's someone who's also who's also become a Kubestronaut recently. She is the first female Kubestronaut in Egypt. So congratulations to Nourhan on becoming the first female Kubestronaut in Egypt. So that's the first female in Egypt, the 9th overall in Egypt, and the 4th female in all of Africa. So we do have Nourhan with us today, but I'm going to bring her in a little bit after I share a little bit more information about some of the other things that we have for you. So hold on for a little bit to hear from Nourhan about her experience. So we have a couple of courses that recently came out the past couple of weeks. So we have the Cilium Certified Associate certification that was released last week. So that is our new addition to the Golden Kubestronaut track. So we're tracking to get all of the courses needed for the Golden Kubestronaut within the next few months. So I think we have a good bunch already. And then we have the NVIDIA Generative AI LLMs Associate Certification by Jeremy Morgan. This was also launched last week. So you can see all of our recently released courses if you go to this link. We'll share the link in the description below. A couple of other notable courses. So we already had the Certified Jenkins Engineer course, I think a while ago, a few months back. We also had the GitHub Actions certification course, right? So we have the Jenkins Engineer course and we have the GitHub Actions course, right? So what do we need next? We have the Jenkins to GitHub Actions migration course. Perfect, right? So you have the Jenkins course, the GitHub Actions course, and then now you have the Jenkins to GitHub Actions migration course. I think this is one of the things that was a lot requested, because I think a lot of companies are migrating from Jenkins to GitHub Actions. So I think this came out as a very essential course. So do check that out. And some of the upcoming courses, we have one on AWS SageMaker, and we have a Learn by Doing, a hands-on course on managing Kubernetes clusters with Rancher. All right, so getting back to our cohort check-ins, all that announcements being done. Now we have so we have the two cohorts that we are been running. So in path 1, by now we should be around this space where you're all starting to prepare for the CKS certification. Now I know not everyone who started in the beginning of the year have completed all the certifications, but we do have a decent amount of people who have completed them. So I'm going to pull up the leaderboard in a minute and give you a walkthrough. And those who are on path 2 should now again be preparing for the CKS certification. So midway through the year, we should have completed at least 3 certifications by now. We started the cohort 2 in April. So by now, you should be aiming towards getting your CKA by end of June. So you have another 2 weeks to get your CKA, and in July we'll be starting with the CKAD. If you started on path 2, then you must have completed the KCNA certification by now and must be preparing for the CKAD certification. All right, so let's go to the leaderboard. So we have 2 of these cohorts that we had started. We have the January cohort that had about 870 plus who joined the cohort, and in the April cohort has about 824. So about similar number participating in each of these cohorts. Let's take a look at the January cohort. So far we've had at least 178 of them who have completed the certification, and about 650 have started and are making progress. Out of that, 178 have already completed at least one certification. We do have a bunch of those who have already become Kubestronaut. So some of them have fast track, some of them have 4 certifications, or four who have done 4 certifications, others have done 3. So good progress there. But we do want to see, by now, we do want to see a lot of people, a lot of you who must have closely completed at least 3 of the certifications. So the CKA, CKAD, and KCNA. You can see a lot of them are there yet, but not all of them. So we want to really push it to the next level. So if you look at the track here, here we are in CKS. This is by 31st August, you should be completing the CKS. So the CKS is probably one of the toughest ones in the whole series of exams. A lot of learning needed on the security side of things. So really go at it. And on the path 2, you'll see that you should be doing the CKA by now. Going to the April cohort. So we have about 437 who have started or made progress in their learning journey. Out of which we have 100 who have already completed at least one certification. There are a few who have already who have done 2 by now, as you can see. And then there are a few who have already completed their all of their certifications. But if you look at it, we have about 349 who have started the CKA, 58 who has started with the CKAD. So by 30th of June, by end of this month, we should be completing the CKA certification and then starting on the CKAD. And if you're on the kind of the easier path, then you must have started with the KCNA and I must have completed the KCNA by now and must be doing the CKAD. All right. So let me go back, share some interesting insights. So this whole cohort, the plan of this this cohort series was kind of something that we really wanted to do because a lot of people were asking for assistance in learning together. We had these Discord channels, but there was really no structure for learning together, which was the whole reason we started building the cohorts. But it was also an experiment, as almost everything that we do. We wanted to see if we build this infrastructure and get people together, is there really going to be any impact in kind of the way that people learn, right? So and we've been looking at some data. So if you look at this at the numbers of engagement on the platform, you can see the purple line are those who started on the January cohort, and the green line are those who started on the April cohort, and the bottom one are everyone else who are not part of this cohort. So as you can see, there's clearly maybe a 2x to 3x increase in engagement in people, like, you know, using and learning using the platform, learning courses, compared to those who are not part of the cohort. Another one is this. This is really the total video watch hours combined with all of the users who are part of the cohort combined. As you can see, the cohort that started in Jan, the people who are part of the cohort, there's a big difference in kind of the engagement there, like people watching courses, learning with each other, helping each other on Discord on our Discord channel. And as you can see, when we started the new cohort in April, we had an even bigger number there for people kind of spending time learning together. So to us, this is really huge. This is something that we wanted to try and see if it works, and it has really worked, and we really want to do more of it, because I think this has a huge impact in the learning journeys of everyone. So we have decided to start a few more cohorts, new ones. So if you're not part of any of the Kubernetes cohorts so far, We have a new one starting in July, so that's just a couple of weeks from now. So do keep an eye out, and I'll share the links out in LinkedIn and other channels. So do keep an eye out. So we're going to start a new cohort for Kubernetes itself. But we do have 2 other cohorts that we're going to start in the same way, right? So we're going to start a new cohort in on the AI side. So Jeremy is going to lead these sessions along with the AI courses. We'll start with the NVIDIA AI certification, which seems to be one of the most popular AI certifications right now. So now that we have the course, we're going to start a cohort with it. We will also have a bunch of really fun stuff for you. We're going to have certification vouchers and free voucher giveaways and things like that, part of the cohort. So those are coming up. We're also going to start a golden Kubestronaut. So this will be all the courses that are outside of the Kubernetes ones that I'm leading right now. But everything else in terms of Cilium, Istio, Prometheus, and all of that, which is going to be led by Sanjeev. So these are something new that are going to come up. So do keep an eye out and join these cohorts. Again, there's no, you don't need anything. I mean, these cohorts are free for anyone to join, right? It's part of, we have a group that's going to be part of the Discord. Of course, you need something for the learning material. So if you have a KodeKloud subscription, that would be great. But even if you don't, right, this is basically learning together, right? So you're going to be on Discord, you're going to be on the Leaderboard, and you can basically learn with each other, help each other, and that's the whole point of these cohorts. We also recently released an ebook. So if you'd like to get a copy of it, go to kodekloud.com/Kubernetes made easy. And let me see if we can pull that up. And it's an ebook that we'll also be printing as a book and giving it away during KubeCon. So we're going to be at KubeCon in a couple of months in Hyderabad, in India. And as we had given away books during the KubeCon London, we'll now be out and in Hyderabad as well, where you can get physical copies of this book. But you can also get the ebook versions now. So if you go download it, you have a bunch of things there. So really nicely illustrated Kubernetes knowledge, along with graphs and illustrations, as we usually do in our courses, but also some check-in topics here and there. So do check it out. And we have the exams. There's a special offer for you. So we have partnered with Linux Foundation, and we have some special discounts that we've got for you. So use the code 30code to get your special discount for your exams. All right. So I think this is probably a good time to bring in Nourhan to this call, and we'll have a chat with her and understand about her journey going through these certifications. So let's bring her in. Hey Nourhan, welcome to this show. Thank you so much for your time. I know you have a busy day. We'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, I just want to thank you so much for taking time out to come here and share your experience with us. So maybe do you want to start with a quick introduction about a little bit about your background?
Sure. Thank you for having me, and hello everyone. So I graduated from computer science back in 2015. And back then I was like all over the place. I didn't know yet what I wanted to be in, but I was really interested in teaching. So I was doing like part-time teaching in the university while I was studying, and some web development as well. Then did my master's in something completely different, embedded systems, in Germany, came back to Egypt, and then I joined the technical support team back in EMC. And I was supporting a product that was mainly about everything virtualization, storage, networking, everything that is pretty much the basics of everything that we use in terms of IT at the moment. Then containerization and the concept of containerization became popular, and we all started learning about containers, and then came Kubernetes, and I moved over to another company in which I was like leading a team of support team based of Kubernetes platforms. So we were helping customers that have Kubernetes and our own proprietary like products back then on how to integrate Kubernetes, how to use Kubernetes to orchestrate their workloads and stuff like that. And later on, I started my certification journey. So I started with CK, and later this year, I guess I joined KodeKloud. So yeah, here I am.
Yeah, so a bit of a surprise there. So Nourhan works for KodeKloud. She's been with us. What is that? Is that six months or so, or less than that?
More. Oh, I guess more.
More?
More like 10 months now.
Oh, 10 months. Awesome. Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit more about your, what you do here, and what you do for everyone here, on everyone who's listening to us. But it's so I too worked at EMC in the, I guess, very few years before we started KodeKloud, and I also started in the beginning of my career as a support specialist. So I was supporting EMC storage arrays. So they're known for their storage arrays. So you mentioned about the virtualization. Like, was that after the, I guess, the VMware kind of?
It was a hybrid. It was a hybrid product between Dell and VMware. So it's called VxRail, a hyper-converged infrastructure. Yeah. So that was my primary product back then, and then I descended into management, technical leadership, and stuff.
Yeah. VxRail. Yeah, I think I'm familiar with that. It's something I did some work around that too when I was working for Dell. So after EMC merged with Dell, there was this whole a lot of work with VMware related products. It was all part of a combined solution. I remember that.
Yeah.
Cool. So before joining KodeKloud, like, how did you come across Kubernetes, or why did you decide to start learning Kubernetes, or how did it come up in your, like, what product in VMware did that relate to?
So I was part of the VMware Tanzu team. So it was basically an orchestrator for Kubernetes as well, maintenance and stuff like that. So we were supporting mainly Kubernetes customers, and being a part of, like, I was on the management team, but being a part of the escalations every day and talking to customers and stuff, I wanted to understand what are we talking about, so that we can get like a solid background of speech when we are speaking to our clients. And I have already had previous knowledge about DevOps. I took like a nano degree in that was offered by Udacity back in the days on DevOps in general. So I had like a generic knowledge of all the tools as well as Kubernetes. So I started like learning non-structured learning of Kubernetes when I joined the team, just to understand the tickets and everything that we were going through in our day-to-day. And then the Broadcom acquisition came, and we knew that the office in Cairo is going to be closed. So that motivated me to just go ahead and certify, because I knew that I needed to like document that sort of knowledge into my CV somehow, so that when I start my next job search, I would like have something that is a credential in my CV, just to certify that I actually know Kubernetes. So that was like the thing that made me start with the certifications, the CKA. Everybody usually starts with the KCNA or CKA when they start with Kubernetes, because the fundamentals of what Kubernetes is. So I started with the CKA, then the CKAD, and then I moved with that.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, cool. And like, how did you come across our our role back then? Was it a referral, I think?
Actually, you might not know that, Mshad, but you're very popular here. So the course, the CKA course is really, really like popular in the IT world here in Egypt, and I guess worldwide. It's one of the very good courses on Kubernetes, on fundamentals. It gives you like the basics of Kubernetes. So you don't just, it's not like the other cert prep courses that you can come across, which just focuses on the exam, but it like teaches you Kubernetes. So even if I did not aim for this certification, I would understand actually how Kubernetes is built. So that's one of the very good aspects.
I mean, thanks for mentioning that. But actually, I was referring to like, how did you come across the role at KodeKloud? Like when you the move here, right?
It
like
was a referral, yeah. It was a referral. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So yeah, maybe you can talk to us everyone a little bit about your role at KodeKloud and what do you do, and maybe share a little bit about the team and what your day-to-day looks like.
Sure. So I'm proudly part of the curriculum team. So the team that drives the content generation in general. So I'm part of the labs team. So I manage the labs team and I work alongside the lab developers that actually create the labs that we work with. So my day-to-day is basically like the normal management stuff that is like checking the timelines, whether we are on time or not, assigning tasks, talking to people, seeing what the challenges are, stuff like that, as well as like tackling challenges and trying to keep up with the technical in the world. So we have courses that we're working on and we have to scale up on that. So usually we subdivide the tasks amongst everyone in the team, but sometimes we want to like tackle some deep research in a certain topic. Sometimes people need help with some stuff, so I chime in sometimes to help like either orchestrate a research on a certain topic or build something that is not working, troubleshoot stuff.
Yeah,
more
awesome.
so.
Yeah. So just so everyone knows, Nourhan and our team are responsible for like maintaining, managing, and creating our lab environments, lab scenarios that you all go through. So it's a lot of work, just so you all know, because every course has a lot of labs, and almost every video is followed by a hands-on lab. These labs need to be like really finely built with to make sure that it's exactly follows what was taught in the video. So there needs to be a flow from the video to the lab, and then every lab step needs to be verified and validated, and the right instructions, the right feedback given back to the students, so they know exactly what they did right, what they did wrong, and also be kind of creative with it, right? So it's a lot of kind of development work, a lot of studying, a lot of learning, and because all of this is like really new and trending technology. It's everybody has to like consistently stay up to date, learn, and keep themselves up to date, because like it's very hard to find people who already know this and then come and get them to build the labs. Instead, you have to like learn on the go and learn it yourself first, get yourself certified, and then prep yourself to help others get certified by creating the content and creating the labs, right? So it's a lot of work. So maybe that is one of the reasons that you went after the Kubestronaut title. Like maybe tell us a little bit about that. What motivated you to becoming a Kubestronaut?
So yeah, one thing that like one of the university professors that I was attending used to tell us is like teaching is learning twice. So when we try to deliver a certain topic, we tend to research it a lot, we tend to understand it, and then we tend to summarize that and put it into content that people can consume. And I think of it like sort of giving back to the community, to the IT community, and moving on, people would do the same, and then they would give back to me at the end. So it's like paid forward. So I like to share my knowledge, and I guess the team that I work in is doing a great job in doing that. So we are after like seeking the knowledge and the technologies in the evolving technology, the IT community that we are in, and putting all that into a form of an enthusiastic way for learners to be able to consume it, and then to be able to rise in their jobs and seek their career path as well. So that's one of the motivations. And what motivated me to actually take the certifications is to try and make our learning experience as close as possible to what the students are going to see in the certifications. So just living the experience myself so that we can put that perspective as well into the course creation, that when we are updating the courses or creating new courses.
Awesome. Yeah. So first of all, congratulations on becoming the first, I guess, female Kubestronaut in Egypt, and the 9th overall. So that's a big number, right? And maybe tell us about like your so you had already done the CKA CKAD before, and so what was your plan? Like, what did you plan after? Like, what was the sequence after?
So I did CKA, and then when I compared like the competencies that is needed for the certifications in general, I found that CKAD is really close. So there are a good overlap between the competencies needed for that and for this. And I used to work as a developer back then in the days, and I had that perspective of a developer. So I thought, why not like go ahead with CKAD, finish that, and then like follow through with the security certifications. My problem with the certifications of security is I've never worked with something related to security in all the jobs that I've been in. So it was like uncharted territories. I didn't know anything about it. So it was a little bit scary, to be honest.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true for a lot of people, because when you work, like a lot of people, when you work in like really large teams, you're or like, especially for me too, like I worked in corporates like EMC and VMware, Dell, and others. You're like working on maybe one specific area, right? Like in the earlier years, I worked in storage technology, and I spent a lot of time just on these storage arrays. So I knew in and out of these storage arrays, and the kind of the fiber channel network, and the SAN network, and everything behind it, the switches and everything that were involved in that. But it was very specific to that, but I never really had gained this knowledge about everything else that were happening around, which is maybe on the server side. You do get on servers and to work on these storage arrays, but not necessarily like the OS related stuff. You're working on the storage side of things.
Exactly.
So a lot to do with maybe networking or security side of things. Like you don't typically, you know a little bit, some basics, but you don't really know that in depth. And the same goes with everything else that were like way above that. Like, for example, on the application side, the dev side of things. I just didn't know that in the early days of my career. And and then it was after like a couple of job switches and moving to different projects that I kind of came across. In one of the roles I worked as a developer, building drivers again for storage arrays. So then I gained a little bit of developer knowledge. In another project, I worked on a full stack project, so that's where I gained a little bit of full stack knowledge. But then again, in all of these, security is something that you don't like typically I guess care about. Is dealt by someone else, but that is now changing, because now you have to have like now the roles are kind of shrinking to or expanding in terms of an individual. You've got to know a lot of it. Your basics needs to be really good, and I think going forward it's going to be needed a lot more. So you need to know networking. You will need to know, and that's what happens with Kubernetes, right? So when you learn Kubernetes, it kind of brings in all of these different knowledge together. So you need to know how networking works to understand pod networking. You need to know security to understand the security side of things in Kubernetes. So it kind of brings all of that together, because it's kind of it's orchestrating all of this, right? So I think that's why a lot of people struggle with CKS, because it's like there's a lot of security stuff that you've never heard in your life, right? You've the vulnerability scans, which typically you would know. Like if you were a developer, you probably would know that. Or if you were involved in building packages and then setting up pipelines to scan these packages, then you would know that. But if you worked as a storage guy or a networking guy, you probably have no idea what those are. So a lot of those concepts can be completely new, and then which is why I think that is also something that everyone should go after, because it teaches you a lot of things that you had no idea about. and you also want to get hands-on experience, which makes it even a little bit more difficult. But it's kind of a good pressure to put yourself in.
Yeah, totally. I totally second that. And one thing about CKS as well is it uses a lot of third-party tools that are not part of the actual native Kubernetes. So even if you know Kubernetes is really good and you know the concepts of security, it's still going to be hard because you, for example, don't know Falco, you don't know AppArmor. So stuff like that you have to study separately and then integrate into how that would be used into a Kubernetes setup. So that was a little bit of a challenge as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so just going back to your recommendation, like what would you recommend if someone was starting off with for the Kubestronaut journey? So maybe we start with someone who has never worked on Kubernetes, right? Like who's completely new. What would your recommendation be in terms of going from learning the basics and then getting all the way becoming a Kubestronaut?
So I would advise that they first should have a solid knowledge in Linux, in networking, and in very comfortable with using a terminal, for example, as well as containerization. So how does containers work? Any container runtime, so Docker, Containerd, whatever. Because that's pretty much the foundation that we built upon in Kubernetes. So if I don't know that, it's going to be a little bit hard to understand how to manage Kubernetes, given that most of the systems are Linux-based. And if you don't know Linux, it's going to be hard to try and understand Linux alongside what you're studying in Kubernetes.
Yeah, totally. I think that's one of the most important basics that anyone should have is Linux, right? And hands-on experience on Linux. Just not just the basics of of course using Nano or VI editor to edit files, which is important, which is probably one of the more important skills you need. But along with that, I guess everything else, right? Like installing stuff if it's not there, looking at
exactly, looking at file permissions, looking at files, seeing open ports, stuff like that, because it's a really help in the exam as well. Not having to jump over to the Kubernetes pages if you're very comfortable with manuals or man -- help parameters, kubectl explain, stuff that you can just do from the terminal. Because anybody who has attempted a performance-based exam in the Kubestronaut suite knows that the time limits on the exam is really harsh.
Yeah,
so you have to be really, really quick within the exam.
So when you took the CK, was it 3 hours or 2?
It was 2, but
2,
the exam
okay.
was easier. It was the version of last year. They have upgraded that to become a little bit harder this year.
Right now, yeah. Yeah. So just going back to the roadmap, right? Like, how would you recommend? So let's say starting with Linux basics, containers, but then like the 5 certification, like what would you recommend in which order people should take?
For me, I guess if somebody doesn't know anything about like Kubernetes at all, I guess they should start with KCNA, which will give them like a solid foundation of everything in the cloud native suite. What tools are there? How do they integrate together? So some people learn by like having a broad perspective of all the tools that are there first, and then deep dive into each single one. For me, I guess I thought that having hands-on on like something will give me a broader understanding in Kubernetes. So I started with CKA, then CKAD, and then took the KCNA. For me, going for an MCQ exam after you have done the performance-based exam is easier because you've already tried everything with your own hands. So when you have hands-on, it's easier to get to the questions and answer them faster. Then I moved to KCSA because, like I said, I didn't have that much experience with security. So I studied CKS before going to the KCSA exam. I studied the curriculum of CKS, which was broader. I had some hands-on with the labs, practiced every week, and then I took the KCSA, which just had the concepts. So after the hands-on, the concepts is easy to pass. And then the CKS, I had to pass in 2 takes. So I didn't finish I only finished 11 out of 16 questions in the first take, and then I had to take it again, in which I was prepared to be faster, at least in the second one. Yeah.
Yeah. And like what was your probably, so the toughest one that you would say is
CKS, yeah.
CKS, yeah. And like what was really, I guess, challenging in that? Is it of course the new concepts that you're not familiar with, but other than that, like was it like the time constraints or the questions themselves were harder, or like what was it?
The time constraints and the various tools. So for example, in the CKA exam, you have only Kubernetes.io as a resource in the exam. So you only have one source of truth to check.
Yeah.
But in the CKS, if you don't know the question, you have like 5 or 6 reference links on different tools. So it's going to be a lot of time to spend checking resources in the exam if you don't actually know what the question wants. And some questions are really not that obvious, I would say.
Straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think one of the questions that Emil asked is so it's a 2-hour exam, right? Yeah, it is a 2-hour exam. Yeah.
It's a 2 hours.
And the area that was the core of the exam.
So basically, security hardening the cluster from all the aspects. So from the networking aspect, from the container aspect, from the machine or the server aspect, from the application aspect. So you have many aspects. You have to know on each level how do you implement security measures to be able to harden that. And like I said, the most tough thing in that is it's not just on native Kubernetes tools, but you have to explore more third-party tools as well.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. Cool. So let's see if there are any other questions. So one of the questions he asked earlier was that which part of Kubestronaut was harder to learn. So I think that you already answered. So it's mostly security and the CKS exam. Let's see. So one of the comment was, networking, right? Like I think in all of the exams, CKA as well as CKS mainly, there's a little bit of networking to learn and understand.
Yeah, in CKS, it's like securing network as well as testing that. In CKA, it's like ingress, allowing communication between containers and nodes and stuff like that. And usually, if you have that knowledge of networking, it's easy as well to make sure that your answer is valid. So if you would like to validate your answers, which is a very important thing in the essence of the exam, that you make sure that the answer is actually correct, is knowing how to validate your answers. So knowing curl, for example, telnet, ping, stuff like that is crucial and important to actually know how to validate your answers.
Yeah. So one of the questions that were asked was about networking. So do you have so one of the questions was, do you have any networking related course in KodeKloud, right? So if you just search for networking, you'll see a couple of them. So we do have one on Kubernetes networking deep dive, and there's one on AWS networking fundamentals. There's also a network policies hands-on. It's a lab only course. Apart from this, I think we are also working towards a few networking deep dive courses that's purely to do with networking and on a Linux system, right? I think that's coming, that's in the works and is expected to come out. I think it's in the early stages of the development, but I think we're taking a slightly different approach of making a real hands-on networking course. I think that is one of the things that we're trying to do different here. Okay, so just looking at anything else, discounts for purchasing these exams. So one of the things I had shared was the 30 code. That is one thing that we offer, where you get like 30% discount. And we're also, they also run sale once every month or a couple of months, and then we actually announce whenever Linux Foundation runs a sale. So you can actually just follow us on socials, and you'll be notified whenever a new sale happens. I think that combined with uh, the coupon codes may give you a decent deal, and I guess buying the bundle will also kind of make it a much more affordable one. Like Nourhan, how did you get a bundle or something?
Yeah, I got the bundle for the Kubestronaut, and then now I got the bundle for the add-on bundle for Golden Kubestronaut, because that's what I'm planning at the moment.
Yeah. So there's one interesting question in CKA. What was the most toughest question you have answered, and how did you find the answer?
Of course, I'm not gonna say the actual question, but usually what I found that was a bit hard are questions that need knowledge that does not have to do with Kubernetes. So if you get asked the question on Linux, you have no access to any resources, and you don't have access to Google, for example, or something like that. So if you don't know that by heart, if you don't know that part of networking or Linux or installation or file operations on Linux, for example, you will not have that question answered, because there is no way to do that using the documentation or the references available. So I would say the toughest part in the CKS and the CKA exams are the parts related to Linux, if you don't know them by heart.
Yeah, and I think maybe one of the questions related to that is any Linux certification exam you recommend before CKA?
Back in the days, I did the Arch CSA, which gave me very good knowledge in Linux. But you don't actually need that in its specific. If you know the competencies that are needed for a certification, you can go ahead with CKA. It's not a prerequisite. I mean, just the knowledge is the prerequisite. There is LFCS as well now, so that's one that is really good as well in Linux Foundation.
Yeah. I think that's probably like the new RHs, kind of the new replacement for Red Hat exams. It's is the LFCS. So the LFCS is something I think that's one I would recommend too, for brushing up your Linux skills.
Yeah.
So I think one of the questions Marcel is asking is, so the CKA, CKAD, CKS, I have the 3 big exams, finished it in 3 months. Question is, should I go for Kubestronaut? Personally don't see a benefit. So my answer would be, it's if you know that if you've done CKA, CKD, and CKS, those are 3 big exams, and I think that's kind of a huge achievement in itself. You probably don't necessarily need to go for Kubestronaut unless you do have some demand from your company, or if you feel like if you don't feel like you don't need that particular title on your resume or anything, if you don't think it's going to help in your job search, I guess you probably don't have to. I think these 3 are big enough in themselves. But I think it's an easy win, I would say. Now that you've done the 3 big ones, getting the 2 would be easy, and I think comparatively they're cheaper as well compared to the hands-on exams. So I guess it's like a quick win to just get those 2 and get the title. But again, it's up to you. I think if it's not really, if you don't see a personal benefit in it, then I wouldn't recommend. One of the questions Peter had was, did you only do the labs from the KodeKloud courses? Did you cover all topics?
I actually, when I started learning Kubernetes, like I said, we were applying knowledge on customers. So I've seen live Kubernetes clusters. But when I started studying for the exam, yes, it was only the labs from KodeKloud. And one of the big advantages of the labs in KodeKloud, and I'm not saying that because I work in the company, but really, it's when you are learning something new, sometimes you don't know where to start from. You don't know how to install something, or you don't have the platform available to install whatever prerequisites is needed. So if you just have a platform that offers you the labs ready to go, and you just go and dive in on a certain particular topic at the time, that was a really good advantage for me. One thing as well from the labs, I used the labs in a way of not just constrained to what the lab was instructing, but I tried to play around, like delete pods, create pods, see how it would go beyond even the scenario that was described. Fire up a playground, see, can I do that on my own? Can I build that? Can I not? And the hands-on, I guess, I believe in muscle memory. So the hands-on that you do on the labs, the more that you practice, that you type, is gonna go a long way in the exam when you don't have time and you need your instincts just to kick in. So, for example, if you are typing on the keyboard, after a while, you don't look at the keys. So
Yeah.
it goes the same way. So if you practice a lot, it's gonna be way easier to do that in the exam and just type out of memory or out of habit rather than having to search for something and copy and paste.
Yeah. I think the other part of the question is, did you have to go through just the labs or the other content too, like the videos and other things?
Yeah,
So
I went through the whole thing.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I mean that's also a pattern we see, right? I think some students just go through the labs only and the mock exams, and the others actually go through the video content. And I guess it's the video helps you go through the labs, right? It gets you helps you understand the topics and the concepts to go through the lab. So yeah,
it's really good to understand the theory behind the practice tests as well, because it's not going to be the same question in the exam. So you have to understand how that actually works, not just create or do some tests or questions and that's it. You have to really understand, because it's going to come in a different flavor. So you need to understand how it actually works.
Yeah. I think one of the other question is, do you have plans to include AI ops courses? I think these are these discussions we're having internally, figuring out like what are our next courses. So it would really help if you could maybe help us know what if you have any more specifics. Would love to know what you're referring to. But yeah, we definitely have ML ops and AI ops courses that we're planning for the future. But right now we're kind of researching to figure out like what are the top ones that you would want to learn. So if you go to request.kodekloud.com, just send the link out there. If you could just go there and add your vote in, that would really help us pick the next best one. We can take one more question. What do you think about taking the CKS exam just after CKA?
I guess if someone is aware of the security, so they are working, for example, in cybersecurity, they are working in a security-related title, and they already have that hands-on and knowledge of the security, they can just attempt the CKS after the CKA. So the CKA would give foundations on Kubernetes, how it's there, the basic parts that form a Kubernetes cluster, and how all the resources work together, and then you can go ahead and learn how to secure that. So it depends really on the background of the person, how to rearrange the certificates. I opted for the application developer because of my own personal experience in that area after CKA.
Got it. And I think we still have a couple of minutes. So I'm a DevOps, mostly with experience in serverless AWS. Do you guys think switching to Kubernetes would be a better path for me to follow, or should I go for DevOps professional certificate in AWS? So I think it's mostly your, I guess, whatever the job demands, and right, and whatever your goals are for the next step in your career. I think that would really drive what you want to do next. So I guess so the serverless AWS experience, I think it's I think that's great. And one of the things with Kubernetes is that it's applicable to everything, right? So if you learn CKA, that doesn't mean, or Kubernetes, any of the Kubernetes certifications, that's applicable to everything, all platforms, all the cloud platforms too. So in AWS, you have EKS, or most likely the underneath the serverless, there is probably things are running on Kubernetes. So all of that, I guess, would kind of the Kubernetes knowledge would kind of contribute there. But if your focus is purely AWS, and if the goal is to have a kind of a breadth of knowledge in all of the DevOps related technologies in AWS, then the DevOps professional might help. But if you have projects lined up that may have that may need Kubernetes, then I guess the Kubernetes certifications would be helpful. So yeah, I'm not saying any specific one. I guess depending on the job requirements and your future plans, you could maybe pick the right one. Cool. Thierry has a question. Thank you for all the valuable information. I guess answer is obvious, but just to be sure, during our training, can you confirm that you have to use only documentation that will be authorized during the exam and no other source? So in the courses, of course, you can use anything that's available. So we do link to Kubernetes documentation that you can refer to. But in the exam, of course, you can only use the Kubernetes documentation site, and you cannot use anything else, right? So that's it's available in the exam guidelines, and that's all you can use. And it's different too. Like it's not just Kubernetes. Like if they ask you to, let's say, install Cilium or Falco, then you will have access to those sites documentation as well. So any tool that you need to solve the exam, solve the question, you will have access to that specific tools website. So cool.
Yeah, same answer here. Maybe just adding that if you are practicing like in a mock exam or something, just stick to these resources, because these are the ones that you're going to have to access at the exam. So if you're just finished practicing, finished studying, you are good with the content, and you're launching mock exams, just stick with the resources that are going to be available for you in the exam, and try to pinpoint or make a mental mind map of which pages would you need for various questions to be able to easily access them or quickly access them in the exam as well.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, Nourhan, for your time. Really appreciate it. And hopefully you can come in again in another session. We can plan something. But thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Mohamed. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Right. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Hopefully, we'll make a lot of progress. We'll create a lot more Kubestronauts, and Kubernetes certified people will give everyone a lot more hands-on experience. So until next time, goodbye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.